Welcome. Here we are, another Wednesday night, and my friend Linda is here from Ravenna, New York. Right now, she's the only one who's showing up on my feed. Okay, I just looked over to Kent just to make sure. Well, that's not a problem because we are ready to go. Okay. Um, there's Regina. Hi, Regina. She's joining us from down south, North Georgia mountains. And she wants Linda and I to move there. Okay. Anyway, what we're going to do tonight, we are going to go ahead and we are going to finish up the project that we started last week. We only had one element left to go in it. Hey, Carla. Carla's here from Oklahoma City. Good to see you, Carla. And this is the last element that we had to do. And then we're going to move on to a new project tonight. Okay, so here we go. Now, this, for what I'm using this for, is a half square triangle. You can use this for any size half square triangle. It can be small like this, or it could be big if you need it big. And then what you would do if it were large is you would just keep going and repeating these lines. So it really would be a very cool design if you had it in a very large half square triangle. So here we go. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put my foot down here, and I've got it at 1/4 of an inch. I'm going to bring my thread up right in the ditch where my half square triangle comes together. Okay, and there we go. Let's pull that bobbin thread up, and we're going to go ahead and drop our needle back down. Now remember, this block that we're looking at now, all I used on it was a 12-inch arc. So that was an exercise for me to kind of just basically stretch myself to make sure that I could do a whole block with one template. And we did. So here we go. I'm going to stitch up until the front of my foot touches the seam allowance here. Take one stitch in place. We're going to go. Going to stop and going to turn my block around, making it easier for you to see. Go ahead, and I'm just going to take that thread off of there. Okay. And one stitch in place, and on we go. Now I'm going to stop when I hit that ditch, and it's going to be right there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down 1/4 of an inch, and that's going to be easy to determine because where my needle is now will be right at the outside edge of my foot. I want to make sure that I'm keeping my 1/4 inch spacing. I use my spacing gauge for that. And there we go. I've got my 1/4 inch. So I'm going to come in, and now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stitch down until I get, whoops, I went too far, guys. There we go. Just a stitch or two far. And now we're going to come up. And again, stopping when my needle hits that line of stitching. And you can see how we're actually working between. And now this one I'm putting 1/4 inch in rotations in instead of 1/2 inch. Okay, just because I think it will show you much better how things are going to look. There we go. And we're going to come up. And we're going to stop right about there. And I did it again, guys. Went just a little too far, but that's not a problem. I can back up. There we go. Going to stop. And I'm going to stitch down. Making sure that my foot, oh, looks like I've got to go a couple more stitches. There we go. Perfect. And we're gonna come back up and over again. Okay, so what I've done here is you can see that I've had to come back a couple of times, and it's going to show terribly with this thread. But if I had a thread that was not so contrasting, this is what we would be seeing. So that's just an idea for half square triangles. Okay, so let's go ahead and get to tonight's fun. All right, and we have a request for flying geese. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my stuff here because I've got a lot of templates tonight that we're going to be looking at.
Did you move the camera on purpose?
No, I did not move the camera on purpose.
Well, it moved.
It moved. Thank you, Ken. I'm glad to know. There we go. We're back where we want to be, right? So let's take a look first at the designs that I have drawn out. And here's the first one. I'm going to bring you in just a little closer because I did this in pencil and I want you to be able to see it well. There we go. So you can tell probably on the first one what templates I used. And if you're guessing it's the curly Q templates, you're absolutely right. And I've used 3 of them on this particular design. Whoops, I'm dropping templates here, guys. All right. Let me go ahead and move this boat. And I want to grab so we can take a look at the sizes that we're going to use. On this particular size flying geese, I'm using a 4.5 inch curly Q, a 5.5 inch curly Q, and a 7.5 inch curly Q. Now let me just explain what the size of my flying geese are, okay? My flying geese is finished size is 8 inches wide, 4 inches tall. What you would do if you had a different size is you would go either up or down in sizes of your curly Q templates. My suggestion, draw it out first. Always draw out a design before you put it onto your quilt. It doesn't hurt too to take a practice piece of fabric and draw it out because you definitely want to make sure that you're putting the item on your quilt that you like the best. Now, another thing I do tend to do is I do tend to make little notes here to myself. We're going to start with the 7.5 inch here in the center, and each side we're going to come down with the 5.5 inch. The 4.5 inch will be on the top. So let me show you how I've marked this and how we're going to stitch it out. This is a fun one. This one is easy to do and it's fun. And here we go. I've got a big piece of fabric here. Okay. I did have to do some marking on here. Hey, Dad. Your messages disappeared.
Yeah, that happened last week.
Yeah, last week that happened to us too, Donna. I'm not really sure what's going on, but I'm glad you're here. Very glad you're here. So what I've done is I basically have got my 8-point crosshair ruler, and I just drew in here on the bottom half, okay, on our triangle, what would be 16 reference lines, okay? Obviously, it's not 16 because we're only using this triangle. Now, something else that I just want to mention while we're here is this would be a great triangle design as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start with my 7.5 inch. And when I do, I am going to only go to here. And then I am going to flip my template over, okay? So we're going to make this template go both ways. And I'm going to just move these guys off to the side right now. I'm going to go ahead and leave it in this orientation. I'm going to start at the bottom. Go ahead and pull my bobbin thread up, and you can't see that very well. Let's go ahead and move that just a little bit more, okay? And here we go. We do have Jen here tonight with us. Okay, so I'm going to come up, around, and stop. And I do have to move this, guys, so that you can see what I'm doing. I always got to test it out first. Whoops, bumped. And now I'm just dropping stuff
And moving the camera.
and moving the camera. Yep, we don't want to do that.
Regina.
Okay, now that we're stitching, I can bring this back up a little bit, okay? There we go. I'm just going to tighten everything down. And here we go. I am lining up my template. I did put my crosshair in here. I am lining up the horizontal lines with the bottom horizontal seam line. Okay, there we go. Time to stitch. We're going to come off the ground. And I'm going to come right to my center and stop with my needle down. Okay, now I'm going to turn this around again. because I'm going to first clip my thread off. And now I'm going to flip my template over. I'm going to realign it so that my vertical lines all line up. And now I'm going to come back around. And this is the reason that we want to make sure that we have stable tape on both sides of our curly Q templates. And around we're going to go and come back and center. Now what this does is it makes the design symmetrical so that when we start putting our side curly cues in, it won't look odd that this particular one in the center is looking out one way or the other. So that is why I did it that way. So now I'm going to go ahead and take my 5.5 inch. And again, just going to move stuff around here. And I want them facing the outside. And you know what? If we wanted them facing the inside, it wouldn't be a problem either. You can have it facing either way that you want. I just prefer it on the outside. And here we go. And around. I'm going to stop when I get to the edge of the template and come back here. Now we're going to repeat this 2 more times. And I am going to readjust my foot. I had it adjusted for the first piece of fabric that I used, and I did not readjust it for this one. There we go. And we're going to line it up on the next reference line. All the way around. Remember, keep those stitches just a little bit shorter when we're working with curvy lines like this. It's going to make our lines look much smoother. And one more time. And you can see this is not difficult, but it gives really stunning results. And back around. And to the center. All right, so we've got half of our base done. Isn't that pretty? I really, really love the way that looks. So now we're going to come around and we're going to repeat the process on the other side, facing out again. And back down we're going to go. And only 2 left to do on the inside. Remember to take your time. It's a journey, and I want you all to enjoy the journey. Be careful you don't fall off the edges of the template when you're coming around. And that is our first portion of our design. What do you think? I love it. I absolutely love it. So we've got the base design done. And as I said, this would be perfect for any triangle that we were going to do. Now, there is one word of warning. Don't try to do a partial curly Q this way. It's going to be too hard to get it, just to get this small section of it. And I personally don't think it would add anything to the design. So just allow it to be this nice triangular shape. Okay. Now we need to look for our 5.5 inch. Oh, that was our 4.5 inch. Okay. We're going to use the 4.5 inch again on the top. And basically, we're going to do the same thing up here that we did down here. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and line this up. Make sure that I've got you lined up well to see. I'm going to start right up here in my corner. Turn it so you can see better what I'm doing. And again, I'm going to come up and stop at the top. Then I'm going to flip no, I'm going to go down to here. I'm sorry, down to the line. Then I'm going to flip my template around and come back. Okay, there we go. What this does, as I said before, this makes that center portion of the design symmetrical, so that when we put our side pieces or our side designs on, look at this. My staple tape just literally fell off, guys. Could that mean that it's just getting old and worn out? I think so. Has that ever happened to you all? It's just that I can't say as I've ever had that happen before. Oh, but there we go. Easy to fix. Okay, so let's go ahead and move this back so you can see it. And now I am going to put my template in. Line it up. Make sure I'm lined up correctly here, guys. Okay, there we go. I got off just a little bit here, but you know what? I'm not going to worry about that. And now I'm going to go ahead and just make one rotation facing out because I want it to be the same as what we did here. Consistency. And come out, around, and come back yet. Back to the bottom. And we're going to flip it over. Now, if this were my real project and not a practice sandwich, would I take that out and redo it? Yes, I absolutely would. And you don't have to do the whole design over again. You can just take that small circular area out and go ahead and put just that portion back in, and it will be fine. Nobody will be the wiser. Okay, so here we go. And back down to the center. And we would repeat it on the other side. Okay, for the sake of time, um, I won't go through and repeat it. But this is what we've got here. Oh, Kathy is here. Hi, Kathy. Okay. Kathy says she just jumped over to 906. Awesome to give a little support here. I really appreciate that, Kathy. I do. You are convincing me that I like these templates. I've only rarely used them so far. Kathy, these curly Q templates have so many different applications and different things that you can do. I mean, they are just awesome. Oh, Pastry Queen, Farm Adventures, Hola. Oh, good evening to you. It's so nice to see you. Okay, so as I said, this is just one of the things that we can do here. You can use a little larger template if you want to fill this out a little more, and that will work. Now, the next one that I have is kind of an old-fashioned one for me, but it's a lot of fun. How many of you have done parabolic curves? Parabolic curves are so cool because they can be used in any shape. And what's going to happen when you use them is it almost brings it into a three-dimensional type look. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at the parabolic curves.
Looks like a volcano.
Ken says it looks like a volcano. Oh, Kathy, I love the curves too. I really do. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look. Now, let me just recap a little bit. I've got 8-inch by 4-inch flying geese, and those are the finished sizes. Now, I really need a longer template here. And goodness knows what I did with it. Okay, we're going to come back to that one next week because I don't know where I put my longer template. And what you're going to see is I do need to have this an area so that I can use this whole, I have a ruler that will use this whole area. So we're going to come back to that. I'm sorry. Okay, let's do some hearts instead. And going to go ahead and get my templates out here. I am using 2 different size hearts tonight. And again, this would make a great triangle. I'm using the 2-inch heart and I'm using the 3-inch heart. And we're going to do some embellishment with the 2-inch heart. So let me show you the design. I am so bummed. I think I used this template for something else and forgot to put it back into this pile of templates for tonight. Okay, so you can see what I've done is my small heart, my 2-inch heart fits perfectly in here. But the 3-inch does not, but that's okay because we only need to do a part of it. And this again, I can't say it enough. These are great triangle designs. And I've gone ahead and added a little bit of embellishment to the heart just to make it a lot of more fun. Okay. So what I've done here is, as always, I just firmly believe in that vertical crosshair whenever we're working on anything. And then I put in a 45-degree crosshair because that's all we're going to need for this design. So let's go ahead and start with our 2-inch heart, okay? And what I'm going to do, we want it this way. We want to do a heart here and a heart here. So with this template, the center of our heart runs on this vertical line and this vertical line, and we want those lined up on our vertical lines. Okay. I'm going to start in the center at the bottom, pull my bobbin thread up. There we go. Go ahead and put my template in, line it up. I'm going to just move this off to the side, and I am going to turn this around so you can see better what I'm doing. Well, hi, Roxanne. Nice to see you. Oh, Donna, I'm glad you liked them. These were a lot of fun. I am so glad that I got a request to show us some flying geese. Okay, so up we're gonna go. I'm gonna come around, needle down. I am gonna go ahead and clip this thread off because y'all know that's what I do. I really like to do that. And then we're going to come back to center. I'm going to line my template up again and come back to center. And even though it looks like you're going to come outside of that, you can always just go ahead and travel along there. Now let's make our embellishment here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put my template back in, and I'm going to twist it. Just so that the edge of the template touches my line of stitching. And I'm going to do that 3 times. The reason I choose 3 times is because my mother always told me things are more balanced if you do them in odd numbers. I'm not going to go quite as far on the second one. Then I'm going to do it a 3rd time. Again, not quite as far. It's just going to add a little interest. Okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make another one this way. Again, lining my template up right here. This is going to cross over just a hair right here. It's okay. It's not going to, it's actually going to enhance the design rather than detract. All right. A question you might be asking is, can't I go ahead and do these embellishments while my template is on this side? And I'm going to say I won't for 2 reasons. One, because I would have to stitch back to the center to do it, and that would give me an uneven weight of thread. In other words, these 2 insides would be stitched twice, and the outside ones would be stitched once. So it's much easier to do it this way, and it's more consistent. Okay, do just a little bit of smushing there. No worries. And we're going to come back to center. And it's getting a little thick in there. That center is getting a little bit of thread buildup. So you're going to want to be careful of that. And here's how we're going to deal with it. I'm going to flip my template and I'm going to twist it just so that I touch my first line of stitching. I'm going to try and get it as even as possible with the first one that I did. That looks pretty close. And if it's not perfect, it's not the end of the world, right? It's okay. And back down. And the 3rd time isn't the 3rd time is a charm, as I've heard. There we go. All right. So we've got the center of our design done. Now the question is, how are we going to find where we need to be for the second part of the design? And if you ask that question, it's a good question. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my larger template and I'm going to line it up right here. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to travel Now, don't let that scare you. You guys are good enough to be able to travel. I'm going to travel until my foot hits this template. And then we're going to come up to here and you need to make sure that it is. Okay. We don't want to put it all the way up because what's going to happen if we do that is it's going to come into the top and we don't want to do that. So we're going to line up these lines, the vertical lines here. Okay. And I've got the horizontal line lined up at the top of my previous rotation, right here, just at the top. I'm going to travel until my foot hits that template. Okay, there we go. Take your time when you're traveling. If you want, you can use your straight ruler. Just going to make sure that I haven't moved. It looks good to me. Okay, so now I am on my template. Oops, and now I'm off my template because I looked away, guys. Oh my gosh, I hate it when I do that. Coming right to the center. I'm going to stop here. Would I go back and change that? Absolutely. Okay, so now this part's going to be really easy to line up because we have the starting point for us. And I'm only going to stitch until I get into this center line. And I'm going to stop right there. Okay. So now what I want to do is I want to go ahead and put this over here. Again, I am lining up that horizontal line at the top of my previous rotation, making sure that my vertical line is lined up here. And we're going to come around. Little down. This part is easy, guys, because we don't have to travel if we don't want to. It's entirely up to you. There we go. Almost got that down a little too far. Take your time. And we're going to stop when we hit our seam line. Okay, now, if you want to keep it consistent, and you all know I'm all about consistency, whether it's a good consistent or a bad. I like it. Hey, Belinda, welcome. Okay, and we're going to come in here. There we go. And again, I'm just going to come back to center. There we go. Okay, so we've got this center part of our design done. The outside is going to be so very easy because we are going to take the 2-inch heart, and we're just going to make a heart the in the center of the outside of each of the half of the I'm not sure which is the geese. I've never been clear on that. But let's say these are the geese because they say flying geese, not flying goose. So I would assume the geese would be the two pieces of fabric. There we go. Going to line it up, and let's go ahead and twist it around so that you can see how easy this is to line up. We're just going to go ahead and put our vertical line on here. Oh, my computer's doing something weird here, guys. Oh, Monica's here. Welcome, Monica. Okay. Regina says it makes the back look consistent doing the traveling, and she's absolutely right. And, traveling is a skill that you will develop. The more you practice it, the better you're going to get at it. So don't be afraid of it, okay? Just go for it. All right, and here we go. Let go of that. Okay, so what I got going on here, guys, is I have too much of my template off of my fabric. I should have another piece of fabric under here, but this is a practice piece, so I'm not overly worried about it. And when we come back this way, it's not going to be a problem. We're just going to line up. And around we're going to go. And there we're going to do a little traveling. And we've got our one heart in. And now we'll go ahead and put the other one in. Again, easy peasy. We're going to pull our thread up at the bottom. Most of our templates are stitched from the bottom to the top and back to the bottom. If you look at your spin effects, those are all stitched that way. If you look at our wave rulers, those are stitched that way as well. Our hearts are, our feathers are. So we have a good number of templates that we start at the bottom and work towards the top. Okay, all lined up. We're going to travel just a little way. And stop with our needle down. Going to go ahead and turn my template over. The heart template is one of the templates that you definitely want to make sure that you have stable tape on both sides, because you need to turn the template over in order to complete the song. And we're going to come up and around. And we're going to do a little bit of traveling here. There we go. And let's pull this out. Now this would make a really cute Valentine's motif, wouldn't it? What do you guys think? I like this one a lot. All right. Okay, let's see where we're going next. Okay, let's do this one next. Okay. I'm kind of watching for time too. Now this one is a really easy one. And this one is done with straight lines. And sometimes the easiest, simplest ones turn out to be the pretty ones. So let's take a look at this. What I've got here is I have a center vertical line on both geese and my flying thing. A triangle. Okay. My turn to try and be funny tonight. Okay. I have made some marks on this. And here I went up an inch and 3/4 of an inch. On here, I went up 1 inch, 2 inches, and 3 inches. Remember, we're 8 inches wide, 4 inches tall, finished. So let's go ahead and we'll start from this side. I'm going to start in the corner. I know you guys have seen me do a design similar to this before. Okay. Okay. We are having internet issues. Um, that's why I froze. Hopefully we won't have any more. Okay, let's try and do this.
I lost 906
Oh, Ken said we're losing it again.
for the shows we have there are.
Can you hear me?
Cat's disconnected and so steady.
Yep.
Unable to connect the chat.
Okay, Linda, thank you. Okay, they can hear me. Let's do this for as long as we're able to do it. Okay. Oh, I'm so sorry. Don't you love technology? Okay, so here we go. We're going to come up from the corner. We're going to hit that first mark. And if you don't hit the mark perfectly, don't worry because those marks are going to go away. Remember, those are just guidelines.
Almost back.
Those are just guidelines for us. Okay, Ken says everything is back online now. His computer showed that it was the cloud. I never did understand the cloud, but
Anything to know?
okay, so there we go, over to the other side. So I'm going to turn this because we're going to do that again. And I'm going to go ahead and trim this thread off. Using my spacing gauge. Oh, this is kind of a bigger one. Hi, Jan, Donna. Okay,
I
good.
wonder if I hit refresh, if that would be a problem.
On that computer?
Yeah,
No, it shouldn't be a problem.
I'm so steady because nothing's changing.
You're not seeing the new comments?
No,
Okay.
just the last ones that said it was disconnected. I'm gonna hit refresh.
Yeah, go ahead.
That work. Okay, we're good.
Okay. Here we go. And this is going to be our second line. Boy, tonight has just been an exercise in errors and frustration. I first of all, I can't seem to do anything right here with the design.
Well, what is it? It's the cloud, it's the modem, is it the internet, is it the computer?
We don't know. There's so many options of things it could be. Oh, is there a full moon out? It could be just the end of winter.
We think you are doing just fine, Donna. So
Oh, thank you, Donna.
Dan O'Grady's got a wintry mix coming.
Oh,
Southeast Nebraska.
yeah, but you guys have had some nice weather out your way, Jan. We still haven't had anything decent here. One day it got up to 50. That's it.
That was spring.
And that was spring, and it lasted one full day, and then it turned back to winter. Okay. Again, miss your mark? No worries. No worries at all. You know, I hate to break this to you guys, but I am so far from perfect. It's not even funny. Uh, okay. Move my template just a little bit. There we go. Remeasure. And break thread. Okay. Isn't that cool? I love this design. Live long and prosper. Star Trek fans unite. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing on the side. We're just going to do it twice instead of 3 times. We're going to start at the tip here. Bring our thread up. Oh, Janet sounds like us. Warm weather one day, long johns the next. Okay.
Donna says it looks like a communicator from Star Trek.
Yes, it is. Isn't that fun? I love it. I think that was probably the inspiration for the first time I saw this design. And now we're going to come back down to the bottom. Now, if you don't want to do, I'll do something different on the other side, because if you didn't want to do quite so many of these communicators, there's alternatives we can do. Although this is really cool.
Yeah, cool. Pretty good.
Okay, Ken is going to leave us.
The little doggy.
He's got to take care of the little doggies. Oh, and it's 5 after 7. If they don't get their popcorn treat right at 7 o'clock our time, oh my goodness, he has to pay the price. I like showing alternatives, and I just moved that camera again. There we go, guys. And there it is. I knew I had my spacing gauge close by. Okay, so there is that option. Kind of cool, right? Donna says we do feed them popcorn. Yes, we do. It's salt free. It's butter free. It's just plain popcorn. That's it. And they love it. And it does not cause them any issues. We've been doing it for years. And it just always seems to be their treat. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to make some straight lines just to make it look a little different. So this just shows you some of the different options that we have available, or that we can do. You guys can do anything you want to do with it. Absolutely. But I just want to show you some of the different looks. Now we're only going to come to where the geese meet the triangle. And then I'm going to stitch in the ditch. Even though I don't have a ditch, I'm going to pretend I have a ditch. And trying to keep an eye to make sure that we're still alive. We're still alive here. We're still live. Okay, there we go. All right, I'm going to come a 1/2 inch in my ditch. Okay, another stitch or two. Perfect. And I'm going to now come back up the top. Remember, don't push the foot into the template and don't push the template into the foot. As I said, one of the hardest lessons I had to learn was to not push things. Okay, and we're going to come a 1/2 inch. Now, this space on our ruler is a 1/2 inch right here. Oh goodness, I dropped a whole bunch of stuff. So if we line up our needle here, we know if we stitch to here, we're going to hit that 1/2 inch mark. Kind of cool, huh? And look at it, worked perfectly. Love it when a plan comes together. Stitch down to the triangle. We're going to stitch in that ditch, 1/2 inch. Now, this is not going to work the same on the diagonal portion. It's only going to work on the straight portion. Oh, one more stitch. There we go. Perfect. That up. And line up that 1/2 inch line again. There we go. This kind of gives it a little bit of, it breaks it up. It breaks the design up a little bit. So it's a good alternative. Now, if you like to free motion stitch, you could always do some stippling in these geese. And I think that would look really nice as well. Okay, one more here. And then we should be good to go. Oh, one more stitch. There we go. So there is one way to do it. Obviously, this isn't going to show up quite like this because you're going to be stitching in the ditch. But it is an alternative if you like it to just get a little cleaner than to look like this. This is going to be okay because you're going to have that seam line here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stitch that line to represent the seam line so you get a good idea of how that's actually going to look. And I love the way it all comes together down here at the bottom. And there we go. There. So there we go. That's how that's going to look with the seam line in there. And I really like that look too. Okay. I hope we've given you some ideas tonight. Now we are going to continue with the flying geese next week because I've got several more options available to us, and I'm really anxious to share them with you. I hope that you like them. As I said, I'd like to be more focused on project based. So here's flying geese, and we're going to look at different ways of doing that. Please let me know if there's something you want me to do. Okay, Regina says, our dogs love popcorn as well. Awesome. Oh, so Fox Dolphin, hi. Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you so much. And no, I know no one's perfect. I know that. I'm so far from it. Oh, I am so glad that you guys like this. Don't forget, um, if you want to get a hold of me, go to sewsteady.com. Under the Elevate tab. You'll see the instructors and all of my contact information is there. So if you would like to use it and talk to me about anything, please feel free. Um, oh, Donna says, yeah. Donna says she likes that I drew the quilt block designs and then started stitching them. You know, Donna, I appreciate that because I really was conflicted as to whether I should actually stitch out some flying geese or if I could get away with drawing them in. And then I started thinking about it. Yeah, I'm going to draw them in. I think it's probably a much better idea simply because this is a practice piece and, don't need to spend quite that much time piecing for this. But intermittently, we're going to have real blocks on quilts that I'm working on, and we're going to have just drawn in practice sandwiches. I really urge you to draw out your designs, get yourself accustomed to it. Make a practice sandwich like this. Go ahead and get that muscle memory going because it does help. It really does. And I want you to know how much I really appreciate you guys being here. If you haven't yet, please go to 906 Quilting Services YouTube channel and click subscribe. That's really important to me. I am really still working on getting to those 1,000 subscribers. And don't forget Deal Day 20 today on any of the templates that we've used. It should be working, I hope. Um, and if not, let me know. We'll go ahead and take care of it for you, help you through that process. So until we meet again, I will see you next Wednesday. Until then, let's quilt.
Are you ready to take your quilting to the next level? Whether you're just starting or looking for fresh inspiration, the Elevate Box Club is designed just for you. As one of our club members, you'll receive a quarterly box packed with exclusive tools, patterns, and fabric to bring your projects to life. We host live classes every month, plus recorded lessons available anytime on our Sew Study University. Join us every Thursday at 10 a.m. for live inspiration on YouTube. We have a club for everyone. Choose from our ruler work club, our pattern only club, or the Elevate Box Club. Want it all? We also have a Get It All Club, combining ruler work and embroidery collections. Whatever your style and no matter your skill level, the Elevate Box Club is here to help elevate your creativity. We never stop learning together.